On today's episode of Empowering Women in Real Estate, the podcast, we're going to be talking about systems, support, and success for dual career agents with Christina Mesones. Hi, I'm Karen Cooper, a wife, mom of three, real estate broker, team owner, and founder of Empowering Women in Real Estate. As a realtor, I've personally helped well over 700 families in my career, and now I help thousands of women from all across the country balance real life and real estate through daily inspiration, motivation, and actionable plans to increase their success. Listen in as I share stories and tips from my life and business and interview some of my favorite people. Hi there, I'm glad you're here for today's episode. I think this is actually only the second time that we have ever touched on this topic on the podcast, and this is episode 409, so it's been a lot of episodes. And that is the topic of being a dual career agent. And, you know, I firmly believe that dual career agents are among the most underserved agents in the real estate industry, period. Because, you know, think about it. Think about why. It is hard enough to succeed when you are a single career agent or when you're a full-time agent, when the only thing you do is real estate. The failure rate is incredibly high. But when you then are a dual career agent, like it's even more difficult. And I have seen it. I've seen it happen again and again and again. I think that team leaders, I think that brokers, I think that other agents, you know, when they hear that someone is dual career, they just kind of look the other way. The failure rate is so high. I think they just don't put a lot of, faith, stock, hope, honestly, in that agent being successful. And I'm here to interview today on the show someone for whom that is not the case. And that is Christina Mesones. She is an agent on my team. We have partnered together now for over 2 years. And a couple of months ago, Christina came to me and she said, I really want to help dual career agents. On our team, we have a large, my real estate team, we're a large team. We have agents in 22 different states, and we have about 8 or 9 dual career agents. And Christina said, she's an experienced mentor on our team. She has a lot of mentorship. And she said, I really want to help dual career agents. And so that's where this started. And it started out by her having just a short, when you're a dual career agent, time is already at such a premium. And she did just a short, Zoom session with the dual career agents on our team. And from that session came to light, really what those agents felt like they were needing and what they were missing. And she is on a mission to help those agents and to serve those agents with what they need. And so she has now opening that up. So the monthly, right now she's planning monthly, might have an opportunity to do more frequently, but a monthly session specifically for dual career agents. The next one is coming up on June 23rd. So you'll hear all the details for that in the episode. We'll also link the Zoom link for that to register will be in the show notes. And I'm just really excited for you to hear this episode from her. And listen, if you are not a dual career agent, I don't want you to turn this off, because there are still things that you're going to hear in this episode today that are going to help you. One of the things that Christina says is that, all of us are actually dual career agents. And she's so right if you think about it. I don't know a woman in real estate that doesn't wear many hats, right? Where we are real estate agents, we are homeowners, we might be moms, we might be caregivers for family members. Like there are so many different hats that we wear. And so that's really true. I think a lot of us really do have that split focus. So here you go. Take a listen. I'd love to hear what you think. Message me on Instagram. I'm at karen.w.cooper. And until next time, stay well. Christina Mesones, I am so glad to have you on the show today.
Thank you for having me today, Karen. I'm excited and a little nervous.
We were getting ready. I was getting ready to hit record. And I said, do you have any questions? You said, we're just going to go. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
I love it. Would you please tell everybody about you? Tell them about you, how you got to real estate, what you did before, what you do now, all the things.
My name is Christina Mesones. I am a realtor with Putnam Group and Real. I started in real estate a long time ago as a title processor. I
Mhm.
grew up in Northern Virginia. I graduated from Fairfax County and then, went to Mason for a year, dropped out. Parents were super thrilled. And then
As
kind
the
of
parents of college age children, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, it was not really a college experience, I felt, because I lived down the street from Mason.
Mhm.
So it was like going to high school again. And
Yeah.
I wanted the full experience.
Uh,
But it led me to, working at the restaurant, which I was doing part-time while I was in school. And then
uh,
so I went to that full-time after,
mhm.
but then realized I needed steady income. So then
Yeah.
I answered an ad for a receptionist at a title company, and
Oh,
that's where it started. And I was very fortunate to find that because I learned from answering the phones all the way to after
mhm.
closing, post-closing policies. So,
Mhm.
and I did that for a little over 21 years, 22. No, it's been more.
Wow.
My son is 21, so it's been over 20 years.
Wow.
And fast forward life, my kids, family, and then when my son was a sophomore in high school, I decided it was time for me to just jump
For
headfirst.
you. Yes.
So I did that at the end of 2021, and so now I'm going into my fifth year.
In real estate,
Yeah.
sales. Amazing. How is that shift for you, right? Having been in title for what, like 2 decades, because you started out at the receptionist and then you had
Yeah.
held different roles there. And then now seeing it from the other side, from real estate for the last 5 years, like what has that been like?
So the shift for me was having to go from a processor way of thinking and mindset to shifting
Mhm.
it to being the realtor,
Yeah.
And so I think that was kind of a hard thing for me in the beginning because I needed to shift it, right? I was being almost too proactive with what I was doing, if that
Oh,
makes sense.
yeah. Yeah, it does.
So
Yeah.
I needed to kind of scale it back, make sure that I wasn't doing anything I shouldn't be doing as a realtor, and then use what I had learned from processing,
Mhm.
not only just the information, but my process, because
Yeah.
that really created the process-driven Christina that I am today.
Yeah.
Because, with everything you do, you have to meet deadlines in this business, always
Yep.
deadlines, and then more and
Yep.
more files. And so I developed a way to keep track of everything. And that
Mhm.
really came through just mistakes, things as you're
Yeah.
learning. And this happened, so let me do something so it doesn't happen again. Um,
Right.
and then just going from the shift from 9 to 5,
Hmm.
working for somebody, getting that paycheck,
Yeah.
to being by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think during COVID, it's probably the most money I made ever in my career. And
Wow.
so I was leaving
So
that
many people. Yeah. Yeah,
for
for
this.
sure.
But what pushed me is that like I realized that I was only going to get so far,
Yep. Yep.
because I didn't have control.
That's right.
And what really made me do it is because, I wanted to take back control of my time.
Yeah.
And it just seems to go faster and faster every day.
It does. It does. And you know what I love about you too? Like, 5 years, we know like the stats, a lot of agents don't make it a year or, what is the statistic? Like 80 some percent, 88% never make it to 3 years. So here you are now 5 years. And I think it's probably comes from your title background and you talk about processes, systems. You are such an amazing mentor. You're on the forms committee at our local association. You were accepted into the leadership program, right? And so you completed that. And so I think that really kind of, and I'm setting this up for our topic for
Yeah.
today, because I think that really helps you to do that so well. And so one of the things about you that has just really been just a couple of months that this has really started
Okay.
officially is you have a heart to serve dual career agents
Hmm.
in this industry. And I love that so much because I feel like dual career agents are so underserved. It's hard to succeed in this business anyway. And when
Yeah.
you're an agent that is dual career, it's even harder to
Yes.
succeed. And I think
Mhm.
a lot of times when a broker or a team leader hears that you're dual career, I think a lot of times they just kind of automatically, or even other agents, they just kind of automatically like discount you, right?
Yes. Very true.
And you don't. Tell me your heart here for this, for dual career agents.
So, dual career. So, one thing I want to start off by saying is I really like how we've moved away from using part-time agent to dual
Yes.
career
Yes.
because I think we can all agree that being a part-time agent isn't part-time.
That's
Like,
right.
there's nothing part-time about that.
That's right.
It's just that you have an additional job that you want to do. And I think it, on some level, especially, the group of women that we're a part of,
Mhm.
we're dual career in very many ways. So, we're mothers, entrepreneurs, we're the chauffeur.
Uh-huh.
So the reason that I thought about it is because, once I started to get into this and I needed to connect to daily inspiration, daily things, moving
Mhm.
away from like the social media aspect of social media, watching
Mhm.
everything. I
Mhm.
started following entrepreneurs, fellow agents and everything so that I can get used to that rhythm, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And one thing that I saw one day, and I can't remember exactly what video, but it was like, we have to look at everything as a whole and find that piece that no one is helping, right?
Oh, yes.
And you have to come from it from a point of been there, I know
Yeah.
what it's like, how can I make it better?
Yes.
And I'm not dual career right now,
Yeah.
currently, but I remember the struggle. And I did
Yep.
a post like last month
Mhm.
about trying to go dual career twice in my life,
Yeah.
in my 20s and my 30s.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't want to do it because it would mean that I would have to sacrifice time with my children as they're growing up and my husband. And so for me at the moment, it wasn't my time.
Yeah.
And then reflecting, having time to reflect on, especially the past year
Mhm.
and seeing where I am now and being
Yeah.
present. And it's like, what can I do?
Yeah.
And the thing is, like dual career agents, we all have limited time, but
Yep.
it's even more restricting for dual career because now they have to add this other component,
Yep.
help them, but they don't have that in between gap to get
Mhm.
set up, right?
Mhm. That's
That's
right.
where it takes the most. And
Yep.
that's what I've seen every time you work with
Mhm.
somebody. When
Yeah.
you do agents, mentors, it's that in between.
Yes.
And that's where things start to become discouraging and you want to quit because you're not getting there fast enough. So,
Mhm.
what can I do to help fill that gap? And
Yeah.
so that's why I started this series with Dual Career, is
Yeah.
so that I can get into the guts of what's going on now, what their struggle is now, and then see
Yeah.
how I can use my time to fill that piece.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I love that so much. And you know what? This makes so much sense because what you're talking about is it's a hurdle that a lot of agents have, dual career or not, is the setting up and the processes and how do I find clients and then what do I do once I get them? And then there's so many hurdles. And then for you having such a clear like systems background in doing title processing and all the things that you did, and then being able to apply that here for dual career agents. I love what you said that we're all actually kind of dual career,
Yeah.
if you think
Good
about
point.
it, right? Because if you're a mom, you have kids, depending on what phase of you are in life, you might be taking care of family members. We have our homes to care for. We have like there's so many how amazing it would be to just have one thing to focus on.
Yeah.
But I don't know anybody. There isn't a woman I know that only has literally one thing that she can pour all of her time into, right? So we are
Yeah.
we are kind of dual career, all of us.
Yeah, and I think by nature we are nurturers. And I
Hmm.
think that we want to nurture every phase of our life. And, I became a trainer when I was a server right out of college.
Uh,
So I
uh,
was a coach and became a trainer. And so, like, unknowingly, that's kind of where I guess it started. But then I
mhm.
didn't realize until I'm this much older, right?
Yeah,
But yeah, I think that, I mean, time is limited,
yeah,
And
it
so,
is. It
and
is.
if you have I'm reading Daring to be Great, right?
Uh-huh.
I started reading and it said if you dare to be like audacious, is it audacious? Like
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
dare to be that.
Yes.
Go and do
Yes.
it.
Yes.
So to take that step to want to take on dual career, a lot of times, it is tied to finances because it's
Yep.
another stream of income because things are
Yep.
so expensive, but
Yeah.
some people truly want to help. And
Yes.
so let me help find a system to get organized so that they don't feel like they're always treading water.
Yeah. Well,
So,
because that's the reality I think that a lot of people don't understand about real estate is
mhm.
because of what this career looks like. It is commission based and it can be 6 months, it can be 12 months before you get your first meaningful paycheck in
Yeah.
real estate. Those of us who are able to go into it, full time or single career to start and be able to float basically until that first like that's a privilege and not a lot of people can do that and so more and more you see agents that do start out as dual career and for some of them they love their primary, I hate to say primary, but they love their other career, and the real estate career is a supplemental income or a way for them to serve in something that they love, like you said. Or it's a means that, they're working to get there full time,
Yeah.
or to get that to be their single focus. So what I love, so you reached out to me,
Yeah.
what it's been, I don't know, a month or so ago.
Yeah.
And you wanted to do this for our team members because on our team, I think we have there's like eight, right? Eight or
Yeah.
nine agents
Okay.
that are dual career. And so that's kind of where this started.
Hmm.
And you had your first meeting. And what I love, and I want to talk about that meeting, but what I love is now it's like you dipped your toe in. And so now you're opening this up to everybody. So we've been sharing this in Empowering Women. But
Yeah.
talk to me about that meeting, because you got together with several of our team members that are dual career and you guys talked about the needs, right? Can you talk a little bit about what you guys, discussed and came up with and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so it was it was very quick. But the different things that everyone talked about was, just finding how to get organized because they're
Mhm.
balancing two things,
Yep.
like, yes, I have a few leads, but I get sidetracked. So what
Yeah.
can I do? And
Yeah.
then, of course, the pressure of also the perception of being dual career.
Yeah.
That's another stigma that dual career agents carry with them. And I think that
Mhm.
if anything, they go a little more above and beyond, possibly a
Yeah.
full time, because they don't ever want anything to come into play that their clients don't think that they're fully capable.
That's right.
So it
Yep.
was that the perception of dual career and finding organizations and also lead prospecting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that like held me back is we've had conversations probably within the last few years. I'm thinking out loud with you, right? And so
Yeah.
what holds me back a lot of times is if I don't know how to be good at everything,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And I've accepted the fact that I'm okay at prospecting because I do it my way and I'm good with the long nurturing game, but some are not.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of, creating this roadblock for myself, I said, let me do this to be interactive, find what they need, let me do what I can, and then connect them and bring other people on to help them with the parts that I'm not fully 100% at.
Yes.
So as I think about it more and more, I think about different ways to plug people in.
Yeah.
So that's
Yes.
a resource again. And
Yes.
so, and I
Yes.
think I've learned a lot of that from you, from watching, and then just the power of networking. And
Yep.
I love connecting people.
A quick note for you before we continue today's episode. Registration is now open for the sixth annual Empowering Women in Real Estate Conference. This year's conference is going to be on September 29th and 30th. It's going to be at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Dulles, Virginia. And I want to tell you about a special that we have going right now for women who register early. And that is the opportunity to save $100 off the general admission price. But please know that we only have a limited number of tickets available at this price. So you are definitely going to want to jump on this if you can. The conference is going to be 2 full days this year. We expanded it really because one day was just never quite enough. The content this year is going to be covering everything from building your business to evolving as a professional in this industry. We talk about strategy and we talk about things that really impact you as a woman as a whole, not just as a one-dimensional real estate agent. And that's just what we do. You can register on our website at empoweringwomeninrealestate.com and click on conference. Hope to see you there. I do too.
I
It's the
do.
best, right? And you
Yeah.
know what? I feel like it's almost like it's so underutilized, I think. So there's so many things that you just said that I wanted to kind of touch on, but it's like there is that stigma, I think, that dual career agents feel. There is that extra pressure because they don't have all the time, right? They don't have all day long to figure out the process or to muddle through. Like time is even more critical for them. And so they need that help to kind of get organized, to get systems down for whether it's, lead follow up or the actual transaction processing or whatever that is. But, I feel like the connection piece is so critical because and you and I were talking about this before with dual career agents. Like one of the things I think that dual career agents need is help from a
Yeah.
coverage perspective, right?
Mhm.
Because how exciting to get your client and to have a buyer, but if your other career is not flexible, and for some people it's not, and they need to run out and see something on a Wednesday afternoon and you can't do it, Well, like that's a hurdle, right?
It is.
And there's a lot of stigma there. And so when you can have good people, right, be connected to you and have people that can say, okay, I can help you. I know somebody there. We do this on our team all the time,
Yeah.
connecting people constantly. This one can show for you. This one can do for you. What's your vision that you're kind of moving towards with this?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. So I've trained myself more so recently not to think too far into the future because I've realized that it kind of can be discouraging for me because it sometimes like, when we dream, it's like, that's so big. I don't know if I'll be able to get there. So
Yeah.
that was my block for probably like most of my life,
Yeah.
And so when you go into anything where it's going to require you to be like the main person,
Yeah.
you're going to have to change your mindset. And
Yep.
like, I was the one like, I can control everything, but it's not
Yeah.
true because
Yeah.
like those moments when you're like in bed by
Yeah.
yourself and you're like, what am
Yes.
I doing? So,
What am I doing?
but that for right now, it's everything that I do now has a purpose, the my involvement with the association has just brought so much to me, in
Mhm.
so many different ways.
Yeah.
And the thing that I'm drawn to is like the education piece. That's why I'm on the forms committee, not because
Yeah.
like of anything other than I want to make sure that I know this because this is
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you can agree, like you back in your days when you were, actively selling, there were agents out there writing contracts and you're like,
Oh,
what's going on, right?
oh my gosh. Yes,
But
absolutely.
in but instead of like criticizing, what can we do to help? So now
Yes.
like, I'm
Yes.
getting involved and I see what it
Yes.
is and I'm part of something to help make
Yes.
it better.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
because you know what happens? Because I love that you said that because it's happened to all of us, dual career aside, just in I can't tell you how many times I would get an offer and it was so poorly written,
Yeah.
right? Or the other agent makes a mistake, or, we all love to make fun. You see the agents that make the memes or whatever because they see listing photos and, you see the person hiding in the mirror because somebody
Yeah.
used their cell phone. Like there's so much of that. There's
Hmm.
so much room for improvement that all of us have.
Yes.
But the truth is, very few people are actually willing to help you to improve.
Hmm.
And imagine, it's very easy to point a finger and to say, oh, they're dual career, they're not going to do a great job, they're not going to be available, or oh, they wrote a terrible contract, this is not somebody you want to work with, or oh, their listing photos sucked. If instead we all kind of had that mindset of, hey, this person might need some help. This
Yeah.
person may not understand. They maybe they don't have a broker or a mentor like you are for many. I mean, you're a mentor for several agents on our team and have been for a couple of years now, to help them to write a contract, right? To make sure that it's written correctly. Or they may not even know that it's actually really easy to find a professional photographer and it's not as expensive as you think, right? They don't need, and so I think the more we can be people like that
Yeah.
and be the person that stands up and says, hey, I've learned none of us know everything. I don't know everything. You don't know everything. None of us
Yeah.
know everything and we're not going to, but we all have our certain things that we do know. And if we can help somebody else to just improve that just a little bit, like, isn't that an amazing thing?
It really is because, I remember when I tried to do it and it was
Mhm.
very hard and
Yeah.
it was a defeating feeling.
Trying to get your business off the ground, right? Your sales
Yeah, as a
business.
dual
Yeah.
career. And it was
Yeah.
very defeating. And I don't know, it forces you into this like wormhole of negativity, And so I like the challenge of solving a problem,
Yeah.
And I learned that again from processing.
Hmm.
The thing that came from that is, especially when we're doing the HUD or the Alta, as soon as I learned what the rules were, right? I was like, okay, what can I do with the rules? What can we do? It
Yes.
always came down to seller credit, too
Yeah.
much seller credit.
Yeah.
And I was the processor, I was like, well, what can I do? Let me ask the lender. And so that I would. And so
Yeah.
I think that's where it all stemmed from. And then, now in what I do every day, I used to almost get a little anxious and stressed with listings where it might have been a little challenging to prepare the property,
Hmm. Yep.
regardless, could be limited funds or just whatever the case may be. But finding a solution
Yeah.
is the best part, you know.
Yeah, it is the best part. And
Mhm.
listen to what you said about that. You said you learned, right? You got good at understanding what you could do, right,
Mhm.
within the rules. And that is the stumbling block for so many agents, whether they're dual career or they're brand new or, even agents that are experienced with talking about different, think about where we live, like different
Mhm.
types of
Yeah,
properties, whether it could be land or commercial or townhouses or single families or well and septic, like, sometimes what we don't know becomes a hurdle. And when you try to keep to yourself and you try to figure it all out by yourself and you're
yeah,
afraid, like I think that there is especially in our industry, because of the competition and because of the way most like environments are set up, you don't feel comfortable raising your hand and saying, "Hey, I'm not sure how to do this,"
yeah.
right? And so then you become like you're your own bottleneck because
That's very true.
right, because you don't know. And then when you are able to plug into things like what you're doing in your meetups for the dual career agents, now you're able to kind of come together with people who can help you, right? People
Mhm.
you can brainstorm with, people you
Yeah,
can problem solve with. When you're a new agent, having the right mentor, somebody who can just kind of give you those tools, that's all we all need. Like imagine what we could accomplish if we just had the confidence. There's a sermon that I heard recently, and it was about asking for help.
yeah.
And he said, don't drown in a sea of lifeguards. And I think that's what happens to so
Mhm.
many of us in so many ways, especially in our business, because there are people that want to help you. There
Yeah.
are people that would be thrilled to help you. But if
Mhm.
you and you're surrounded by them, you just don't realize it. And if
Yeah.
you can't raise your hand, if you don't feel comfortable speaking up, then you're not going to be able to make those connections.
That's true. And what you said earlier about, agents not wanting to raise their hand because they don't understand something, because they have this, perception that they should be perceived as this, well-polished professional real estate realtor, with that knows everything. But
Yeah.
the truth of the matter is our business is never the same from one day to the next.
No.
And
Mm-mm.
so if you think you know everything today, tomorrow, I guarantee it's going to be different.
Absolutely right. Yep.
And I don't claim to be an expert in anything I do.
Yeah.
I'm very transparent, as like this is my strong suit. These are
Yeah.
not, but I will connect you with somebody else.
Yes. And that's it right there. And that goes back to what you were saying is being the resource
Yeah.
and being that connector because none of us know. I mean, gosh, this is year 24 for me. And there are still things that I learn every day that I had no idea.
Yeah.
Right. And because things do change in this industry, it seems like faster and faster they're
Mm.
changing.
They
And
are.
so, and so being able to have those connections with people, I think is so huge.
Yeah.
So your next session, is your plan to do this monthly? Is that the vision?
Yeah, it's monthly for about 30 minutes. If there's a need to do it more frequently, then I
Yeah.
will. But I think for right now, to take the
Yeah.
pressure off people of having to
Yeah.
join on a more,
One more thing. Yeah. Uh-huh.
and if it goes from there, and I love, the age that we're in that we can do this electronically, like we're doing.
Yes. That's
And
right.
and the thing is, I just want to create a space where people are like okay to talk about what they need. And if
Yeah.
you're a
Yes.
year into it and you still need help with your self system, that's okay. Because
Yeah.
like you said, when you get into the business, your first
Mhm.
thought is, I need to make that first sale because that's
Yep.
how I need to do it.
Yep.
So I think that's the reason that a lot of us, including myself, we didn't take the time at the beginning to learn
Yeah.
things that should be the foundation of our business, which is
That's right.
processes, the
Yep.
contract, and just keep protecting your license,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yes.
And everything else is in addition to.
I love what you said. I wrote that down. It's okay to talk about what you need because I think most of us, we're not in a space where we feel comfortable talking about what we need. And when that happens, then that's when you have those moments where you're laying awake at night going, "Oh, what am I doing? What did I get, what did I get myself into? What, like, I don't know what I don't know." And so being able to have a secure space and a safe space where you can come together with other women and talk about, hey, this is what I need. This is what I'm struggling with. This is what, this is maybe what's lacking right now. We can't see our own
Mm-mm.
hurdles, right? It's almost like we have blinders on and we can't see them. I'm thinking about as you were talking, I'm thinking about a call that I had with an agent and I didn't realize from the onset of this first call with this person that they were actually they'd not been successful yet in their business. They've been in business for about a year and haven't closed any business. But they were, I'm assuming now that I've learned some things afterwards, maybe embarrassed to
Mm,
admit, right, that they hadn't closed any business yet. And so, because of that, the conversation initially was very different because I think I'm talking to somebody who's, done maybe these certain things, but they're afraid to really admit where they are.
yeah,
And if I had really actually known where they were, that conversation would have been different
yeah,
and, different resources could have been offered. And so I think that's, for anybody who's listening to this conversation today, dual career agent or not, I think that's maybe a great lesson is being able to have the confidence, but also the security in the people around you to say, hey, this is what I need right now.
yeah, yeah. And there is a lot of need out there, not only
Yeah.
in our business, between colleagues and clients, but just in the
Yeah.
world in general, in our
Yes,
community.
absolutely.
And so I don't know, like my dream is for like the entire world to shift their mindset to like
Yes.
understand and see that if we just take a little time to really focus on the good and
Yeah.
how to help each other,
Yes.
and maybe we can all be happy,
Would change everything.
or change everything. And so, like, I don't know, it's probably like myself getting into that part of my life where I'm starting to realize like all the things that I worried about are really not that big of a
Oh,
deal.
yes. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. Yes. That is the gift that aging gives us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is one of the things or they're great. But um but yeah, I just and I want to make sure that now that I'm in control of my time, I want to make sure I'm using it effectively
Yeah.
to not
Yeah.
only help my vision, but if I can help somebody else, why not? An hour out of my day here and
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And using that time to serve other people, I think is amazing. So your next session for dual career agents is on June 23rd, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard
Mhm.
Time.
Yes.
And do you record these? Do you send out replays or is it just live only?
No, so I am going to record the next one so that I can circulate it because this is
Okay.
going to be more talking about processes,
Okay.
establishing that. So
Awesome.
I'm going to kind of update the intake sheets and my checklist that I use to just
Okay.
polish it up and then talk about it and then share it.
Okay. Amazing.
Because that took me, through the years I compiled the information.
And
So
some of that came too from, because I think you copied me on the notes with that first call that you did. That was
yes,
things that people have requested. So,
yes,
so I think also for anybody who's considering sitting in on this session, like this is a great way where, people are kind of coming together at raising their hand and saying, this is what I need. And then you're actually working to see how you can fulfill what they need.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is, and I'll just say this too, like this is broker agnostic, right? So this is for anybody. It doesn't just
Funny.
have to be people who are on our team. We've been sharing this widely in Empowering Women in Real Estate. And so anyone is welcome to come and join and be a part of the conversation. We will link the Zoom registration link. It's free,
Okay.
right? You just
Yeah,
register.
it's free.
So we'll link that in the show notes. So I'll make sure that we share that. Any parting thoughts or message for the woman who is a dual career agent who's maybe feeling a little lost, a little frustrated right now in her business? What would you say to her?
I would say don't give up, don't close that door. Write down the things that you feel that you need help with at this moment so that you can shut the door on second guessing whether or not you should stay.
Mm,
Because it could be something very, just very little that can make a difference. You have to give something an opportunity to correct itself or
yeah,
get better.
yeah,
And that's something that I learned as a manager when I was a restaurant manager. And I didn't like to have to tell people that they couldn't work here anymore, right?
yeah,
But one big thing I learned is if you recognize a problem, you have to give them an opportunity
yeah,
to resolve that problem. And
yeah,
if they can't, help them, right? And
right.
so, like, you do that, and then you just never know what can come from that because for
Yeah,
addressing that one thing, it could be something else that you didn't know about.
right.
And for you, it may be a little difficult, but for someone else, it may be easy.
So easy. What you said there is it's a system. It's so beautiful and so simple because we get overwhelmed. We feel like we're going to quit and that's, like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. There's so many things. But if you can take a minute, take 5 minutes, write
Yeah.
all of the things that you don't know, all the things that are bothering you. I think, like you said, sometimes you do realize that some of those things are very easily solvable, or connecting with a person who can help you to solve that. And then it just shifts everything,
Exactly.
right? And
Everything.
so instead of like, kind of cowering under the weight of all of these things that I don't understand,
Mhm.
you can lift that,
Right.
right, by associating yourself with people who want to help you or have the resources, other people they can connect you with that can help you. And sometimes, like you said, it's just a small little tweak, a small little shift that can change your confidence and
Yes.
open up everything in your business.
That absolutely. Never shut the door until you've exhausted every type of solution or anything,
I love it.
and we're all connected.
Yes, there's no reason not to be. And so, what's the best way if anybody wants to connect with you? Is it Instagram? What's a good way for them to connect with you?
Instagram, Facebook, or my phone number,
Okay.
however, whichever is your preferred method. If you
Okay.
like, if you're a texter, that's fine.
Okay.
Whatever way to connect. I got everything on notification.
Amazing. Well, we will put links to your Instagram, your Facebook, your number. We'll put all of that in the show notes.
Okay.
And thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope any of our
Yeah.
listeners who are dual career come and join you on June 23rd.
I appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you for listening to Empowering Women in Real Estate, the podcast. Click subscribe to be notified every Wednesday when our latest episode is released, and be sure to check out our group on Facebook.